I want to talk broadly about the U.S. economy and the global economy, and perhaps we'll get more into fixing entitlements in the Q&A with the audience. But overall, are you pessimistic about the outlook for U.S. economic growth? Do you see it as a 2% economy, say, over the next decade?
Unless and until we rein in the rate of growth in entitlements, yes. Because the logic which you just went through has got to be broken, and the only way you break it is, remember, we added 10 percentage points, we moved 10 percentage points in GDP from financing productive capital equipment to funding benefits. You cannot do that without a very significant impact. And we're seeing it now. This is the reason why everyone who's looking at the data said we have to come to the grips with entitlements. But entitlements are basically the third rail of American politics. You touch it if you're running for office and you lose.
So I have to go there because this is why people hate economists, right? Is because ultimately in the utopian world you would have more of the entitlements geared towards productivity growth, right? That would solve some of the problem.
Well, but wait a second. No, it doesn't improve productivity growth. It is basically we've got to go back to the original.
I'm sorry, what I meant was that the growth of entitlements would be tied to the growth of productivity.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That would solve.
It would, well, you could even be closer. You could just balance the budget. I mean, for example, the reason the budget gets balanced back in the earlier years is we're doing 3, 4, 5% GDP. But remember that when Social Security began in 1935, when Franklin Roosevelt signed on, it was a defined benefit program in which the cash receipts scheduled to fund the benefits were actuarially the same as they were in the private sector. We have now abandoned all pretense. You talk about the 1983 Commission. We couldn't even get something as significant as lowering the raising the retirement age, because longevity had gone so extraordinarily far since 1935. It was the only thing we could manage in 1983 is to get it in the next century. Now, politically, you got to see that's what that was. And the pressures here are, our system is so governed by getting these entitlements, sort of, once you get them, look at the word. Entitlements used to be something which the founding fathers talked about with respect to individual rights, liberty, freedom of the press. These are physical good retirements produced by whom? And you can't answer that question very readily. And unless and until we get out of this cycle, I don't see how we get out of the cycle and get back to 4% GDP growth, which implies significant rise in output per hour. It's the only way you can get there, given the structure of our working age population and the very large population of beneficiaries.
I mean, that's the other thing we could talk about, which is the other side of the growth equation is growth in hours worked. And could we enhance that by a smarter immigration policy and a smarter education policy?
Well, yeah, I mean, my favorite problem before all of the immigration issue came up politically was I thought the H-1B program was much too small. That's the program which enables people with special skills to come into the United States, get a green card and the like. Every other major country looks to the quality of whom they're inviting in, and we're not doing that. We're restricting that very significantly. So the answer to your question is yes. I mean, if you really wanted to increase productivity, we would really open that program up. And if anyone who got a PhD in the physical sciences in the United States would be allowed to stay. Instead, we kick them out.
We educate them and
Why
kick
we
them
do
out.
this is bizarre and beyond me.
Alan, tell me how Alan Greenspan listens to the current debate